We have the New York Giants versus the Washington football team. I don't think we have to go too far into this. And by the way, after seeing Dallas versus Philadelphia last night, and we don't get a chance to talk about Philly since they're in a bye week this week. Philadelphia, literally the one thing you don't do, the one thing you have to avoid is turning the ball over 4 times in the first 35 minutes of the game. I was watching that, and they were my eliminator, they were my suicide pool pick. And I had them basically in every single bet in parlays this week, Philadelphia Eagles. And I was just like, what? What are you doing? And I wasn't even watching the game because I was getting so angry. Philadelphia. I'm not so convinced that Washington and New York, these aren't the 2 best teams in the division. Full disclosure to everybody, we filmed this before the Monday Night Football game, so we don't know what happens. I'm assuming everybody is relatively healthy for the Giants, but let me just say this. This is pretty simple. In this whole game, start the Washington defense, start the New York Giants defense, start Antonio Gibson. I stay away from everybody else on both teams in this game. What do you think, David?
Even McLaurin?
Uh,
I know people don't like the Bradbury matchup. Bradbury's getting a little bit of a reputation.
If you can't do, I think you could. Look, Corey Davis is on waivers. I'd rather pick up Corey Davis and plug him in than McLaurin. I don't love the matchup. If you play him, I wouldn't argue strongly against it, but I think he can do better on waivers. Ayuk is on waivers. I'd rather have Ayuk against Green Bay this weekend on Thursday Night Football. So I personally don't play him because I think he can do better, but, to each their own. I wouldn't argue against it either.
The good thing is they played 2 weeks ago, so we know what to expect. McLaurin had 12 targets for 7 for 74 in that game, 14 fantasy points. Didn't find the end zone. 12 targets is nice, catching 7 for 74. I think you got to start him over Corey Davis. I'm going to disagree on that one just because the Bears matchup's a lot tougher. Antonio Gibson didn't have a crazy game against the Giants the first time. 9 for 30 and 4 for 25 receiving. If I remember correctly, I don't have it right here, but I believe J.D. McKissick caught like 6 or
he did. It was like 7.
Or 8.
I remember that, yeah.
Something like that. He got a good amount of
7 for 72, if I remember, but again, I don't have the numbers either.
I think definitely the takeaway here is play the Washington defense, play every defense basically going against the Giants.
Yep.
Especially coming off a bye.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they might be cheap in DFS as well.
And Washington's offense is much better at having moved to Kyle Allen as well. So there you go. Let me just hit you with the line here on this one. New York Giants, again, we haven't seen Monday Night Football yet. It hasn't been played as of the time of this recording. But New York Giants plus 3.5 versus Washington. Who you got?
I'm going to take Washington coming off the bye.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, 3.5, I feel like it's a field goal game, so I took the Giants. I mean, literally, I had this as a 3-point Washington victory. So I think Washington wins a close one coming off the bye. The 3.5 I don't love. I'd probably wait till later in the week and hope this thing drops to 3, and then I would take Washington. For now, I'd probably stay away from it, but if I have to pick one for this, which we do, I'll take the Giants.